Hi, welcome to the Popular Podcast. My name is Philip. Let's check the mailbag. Luther B. writes, "When are we going to get a new body swap comedy? We're rebooting everything else. I want to see an adult and a child swap consciousnesses." Hi Luther, I'm with you. It's an evergreen premise, and it's been used successfully every time in history without fail. I do think that there's a pitfall that many body swap comedies fall prey to, though, which is that most adults who play children overshoot it and play it too young. If they're trying to embody a 17-year-old, they seem more like a 13-year-old. If they're aiming for 13, they might act more like a 9 or 10-year-old. Children are children, but maturity and immaturity are on a scale, and it's strange to see supposedly great actors get this so wrong. Those actors need to do their homework, but at a healthy distance, and with express written permission from parents and the authorities. Get ready, it's time for a basic check. If you've ever described the smell of a candle as fun, you might be basic. If your child's name ends in the letter Y, where the Y is pronounced with a long E sound, you might be basic. If you're at the gym, and after dropping down from doing some pull-ups, you sort of swing your arms in front of you and kind of clap your hands together a couple of times, you might be basic. If you listen to the cast recordings from Jukebox Musical Revivals, you might be basic. If the first thing you think of as basic is someone who drinks pumpkin spice lattes, then you've been on the internet, and you might be basic. If you think that pumpkin spice is a naturally occurring spice, you might be basic. It's usually a combination of cinnamon, ginger, clove, nutmeg, and allspice. If the one word you can't stand when people say is moist, you might be basic. If you say you like all pizza toppings except for anchovies, even though you've never even had anchovies before, you might be basic. If you think to yourself, yeah, I'm basic and I'm proud of it, you might be basic, and I'm happy for you for being comfortable with yourself, and I'd love any tips that you might have. If there are any foods that you don't like because, quote, it's a texture thing, you might be basic. Did you pass? All right, let's get into, or out of, the comfort zone. Every once in a while, I try to get out of my comfort zone. Like, I recently tried making small talk with a man who was giving me a flu shot at work. I asked him how many days they were going to be at the office giving flu shots. The answer was 2, and I knew that, but I asked him anyway. He checked with a colleague nearby, then answered me. After that, I couldn't think of anything else to say, so I just sat in silence and waited for him to stick my arm. When he finished, I quickly thanked him and left. I don't exactly know what got into me. Maybe I was feeling a little anxious about getting the shot, so I decided to fill the silence with an unnecessary question. But I'd like to think that I was really just trying to get out of my comfort zone. Dear Diary, I recently went to vote early. I know it was early because I was still a little tired. In addition to all the campaign signs stuck in the grass outside the polling place, there were a few people actually standing outside and holding signs. One lady was holding a sign stating that she was the mom of one of the candidates. I believed her because her smile matched the smile of one of the men that has most often frequented our mailbox over the last 6 months, on campaign mailers and postcards and things like that. When I got inside the polling place, there were a few lines to pick from, so I didn't have to wait too long. The guy helping me check in printed out my stickers, and I signed my name upside down in their book. I then got into the booth line, where an older man wearing a train engineer's hat was helping people get set up at their voting stations. Someone complimented his hat, and he said, "Thank you, it served me well." And I didn't know if that meant it served him well as a functioning hat, keeping the sun out of his eyes and his head warm, or if it literally served him well on the railroad. A lot of polling places can function sort of slowly, so I'd like to think that his career on the rails has made corralling voters at the polls seem like child's play. After I cast my ballot, no one offered me an "I voted" sticker, so I just left. I later heard that they had run out of stickers at that polling location. That's it for now, your friend Philip. Before we wrap things up, it's time for household tips. Depending on when you're hearing this, daylight saving time is almost over. That means that it's time for the dreaded clock change. I hope all your clocks are easy to reach. Here's the tip. Always keep half of your clocks set 1 hour too late or too early. That way, when you need to move the time 1 hour, you only have to do it for half of your clocks. For example, for the upcoming end of daylight saving time, I'll only have to move half of my clocks back 1 hour. The rest will already display the correct new time. So then, I'll set those clocks forward 1 hour. That way, I'll only have to move half the clocks forward once daylight saving time starts again next spring. Okay, that'll do it for another pop filler. Thanks for listening, and remember, you'll be fine.